All right, people, welcome to another 90-day recap chat. This is Irene, Faith, Love, and Trends. This time we're talking 90-Day Fiance the other way. 90-Day Fiance is a reality show that follows couples. One person's from the U.S., the other from another country. We see all their ups and downs and just regular relationship challenges on top of language barriers, cultural boundaries. And the whole process of getting that K-1 visa takes about 90 days. That's why they call it 90-Day Fiance. So they got to get that knot tied within this 90-day period in order to be citizens, in order to be able to live in the same area with their mate. So they can live together happily ever after. Do we have a lot of happily ever afters? Maybe a little bit more than I'd expect when it comes to the 90-day world, but there are definitely times where it's not so happy. But we're rooting for the happiness, guys. So let's get back into lastly with Matt and Greta. And she went all the way to his, I believe it's England. And he lives with his parents at this time. He's going to work on getting a bigger place. I believe that they're engaged, or they're planning on getting engaged, something of that nature. And they're going to be living together at some point. But right now, they're living at the parents'. And she shows up with all of her stuff for the first time. She's going to be living in this new country. And he's made really no space for her at all. He's like, just kind of find some space yourself. Kind of leaves her to her own devices. So she kind of breaks down. And I can understand. She left her cat Hazel, who was beloved and loyal. She's in a new country. She's changing her whole life for this guy. And he can't even save a few drawers, save some closet space for her. It's just nothing. So I get it. So we're back at that point. As she's trying to figure out where she's gonna put her stuff, Matt's family comes in. And they're really loving to her, welcoming. They're glad that she's in Matt's life, and she's hoping that they're hoping that she becomes a part of the family. They make little ones with their son, and just everything is perfect. And they welcome her with this giant 3-tier cake. It's a vegan cake. Now, earlier we saw that his dad is a butcher and there's meat everywhere in the refrigerator, and she was stressed about that. But they said they're working on making space so she can have a meat-free zone for her food in the refrigerator, and they bring her this huge vegan cake. I mean, the parents are welcoming her much better than Matt is. Much better. And she's really grateful for them. The whole family dynamic she's not used to. She had struggles growing up as a kid, and I believe she was kind of like in a step family situation. So things weren't always the greatest, but right now she feels welcomed. She feels loved by his parents anyway. Now it's your turn, Matt. So they're laying together in the bed. They're going to call it a night. She had a long day. Before that, he's like, I see that she's just trying to get adjusted, so I'm going to leave her alone. He doesn't get how big of a deal it was that he made no space for her, right? So she kind of lets him know that. And he's saying, well, you can move your stuff here. You can move my stuff out in this area, and you can go out in the garage and get this and that. And, okay, you're telling her what she can do. Could you help her a bit? Could you be the gentleman and possibly move your stuff out to the garage, and instead of telling her what she can do? I mean, maybe you can help her. It's not her house yet. She just got there. So kind of show her what she can do. That would be a little bit more helpful. He still kind of seemed like he didn't get it, but at least he made an effort. At least he said, there is space for you, and you can do this and that. And well, why don't you help her do it, sir? It is you and your parents' house there. You can help her figure this out. Night one was not feeling so great, but they say goodnight, and she cuddles with them, and she's like, I'm just going to call it a night. She thought it was going to be this passionate, amazing night with him. The first night she gets to his country and they're supposed to be spending their life together, kind of day one. But it wasn't that, but it was a nice cuddle and good night scenario. And she just said, I'm beat. So the next day, he surprises her with a great spa trip. It's like, oh, okay, he's trying to make things up to her, make things a little bit better. And she's like really excited. She said, we're spa people, And she's like, so she's trying to make this a regular thing. And she's like, I get weekly massages. And he's looking funny at her like, you know what? This is kind of like a treat. This is not like going to be a regular thing. And, I agreed to be the breadwinner, but, that's going to be a little bit too far. So she's like, well, I thought that you were going to already have this in your budget. I thought that you were happy with your job and you were climbing the ladder of success because that's what you wanted to do. I don't want you to feel pressure that you now have to make so much money for me. I thought this was going to be our lifestyle because we both wanted this. Not that I'm pressuring you to do it. So that it became a little money issue and a little money battle. It became a tit for tat for a second. She's like, well, you can't afford these weekly massages, but you could afford to get this new engine in your car. Did you really need to do that? And he was like, well, we both can use my car, but the massage is just going to be for you. So they were kind of playing tit for tat already in the beginning. And I'm like, hey guys, where's the honeymoon phase here? You guys have freshly got into your country. This is just starting and you're already battling over money here. And the way he came about the money issue, I just feel like he has issues with money. And I'm not really feeling that vibe of him just coming at her like that. But, I don't know what her spending habits were and have been with him. But I feel like if you're that worried about money and not worried about the person who you then realize all she wanted was you to make space. But when it comes to the money, you're going to bite her head off. But you don't realize the other things that she needs. What kind of partner are you going to be, Matt? So, you got a bonus for taking her to the spa, but then we're going to have to take it back again because of this money fight you guys are having at the spa. And then I'm not going to just say she's totally cool with what her thoughts and comments were either. They were playing tit for tat with each other. It's just like, I don't know what these guys. I do wish them the best, but to me, I feel like they're going to have to do some work. Really do some work on this. All right, guys. Didn't mean to spend so much time on these two, but let's go let's go to Luke and Madeline. Let's go to Luke and Madeline. She forgives, the whole situation where he was saying that what was she doing with the money? And the wedding planner was like, what's going on? I need the rest of the money. And he was kind of putting it on her, like, what did you do with the money? So she forgives him in doing that. And he comes up with an excuse that I was tired since the flight and everything. I didn't mean to. So they let us know that, okay, she didn't consummate with him, or I'll say she didn't have any bedroom time with him that night. These two are engaged, by the way, getting married very soon. Was it a matter of weeks or less? So she didn't spend the night with him in that way, but they did cuddle and kiss, and he said he was happy with that, but she was still mad, so that's why he didn't get further than that. But he was good with what he got, right? So now they're going to have a date night. They're going to put everything behind them. They're going to go to their cake tasting so they can get this cake for the wedding. As they're trying these different types of cakes. Then he kind of tries to sweet talk her a bit and says he can't wait to spend his life with her. But, this is just to kind of soften her up a bit for what he's going to confess, that his friends had a stripper at the party. So she goes ham. This ain't the first time. She throws the cake all over him. All the tastings of the cake. So he got caked, okay? And I have a feeling, once you marry this young lady, that's what your life is going to be. You got caked. I mean, there's always going to be some type of major thing that happens, and I'm not saying he's not at fault. He's acting like he was completely innocent, but he accepted the stripping. He acted as if he did nothing. She's like, "Did you touch the stripper?" Like, he was like, "No, I didn't do anything." Yeah, you did. You participated. But I mean, it's not like they had his arms and legs tied. And he could have said, "Okay, let's say the stripper danced for you, then you just tell the stripper to go home," or something like that. But nah, he fully used all of the services that the stripper was providing, from what I recall on that episode. So she's upset. She goes to her car, starts crying to her mom. I believe that's her mom on the phone. He gets up and tries to find her to fix things, like, "Hey, can I have a napkin first?" Because he's like completely massacred by cake. And she's like, once he gets to the car, she's like, "Well, why don't you marry the stripper? The wedding is off. Marry the stripper. The marriage is canceled." She takes her ring off, and she basically leaves and strands him there out on the street. So that's what you get, Luke. Like, for on some level, I felt bad for him, but on some level, like, you knew what you did with the stripper. Like, I don't think he did all the things, because sometimes strippers will provide extra services. I don't think he did that, but he did enough. And for me, he said he felt like he had to confess because he's about to marry her, which I think is truthful and honest. But you put this stripper confession on top of the other day where he basically was trying to say she was grabbing his money up and not putting it on the wedding. So you add these two together, and I can see kind of how Madeline burst at this time. So I feel like it's going to be a lot of that, because Luke kind of still needs to grow up. And even though he's like, 30, 32, and she was only 19, I don't know if she's 20, I think she's 20 now. He really needs to grow up. She does too. She needs to physically grow up as well, but he is like got a little bit more time on her, and he still needs to grow up too. He doesn't see his flaws and his faults in this situation. I feel like he does some dumb guy stuff, but he looks to Madeline to blow things up out of proportion so she can be the bad guy, when in fact, he played his part in that whole scenario. All right, lastly, we got this new couple here, Patia and Dylan. Patia's 58 and Dylan's 38, so Patia's a cougar. And first things first, we see Patia. She's an exotic dancer wearing a cowgirl hat and not much else. She's been doing this since 1989. She says this helps her feel youthful, energetic, keeps her fit. So she loves the industry that she's in. But she's going to have to leave this industry now to go be with her boyfriend Dylan across the world in Tasmania. He's a plumber. I assume he's an Aussie. He's got the accent. But he moonlights as a stripper. So they have this in common. I think the whole scenarios that they met in Vegas and doing different shows. And that's how they met. They've been together for 12 years, which is quite a long time. She definitely cougared this guy up. She's 58 and now he's 38. He had to be in his 20s when they first connected. And what was she like? Somewhere in her 40s. So there's a 20-year obvious age difference that we see. But anyway, 12 years is a long time. Like, if you guys didn't make it work in 12 years, do you think that it's gonna work now, Patia? You're the older one here. She said that in that 12 years, they have actually made some big strides in their relationship. 4 years ago, she left everything to move to Thailand with him, but they fought so much off and on. And she ends up now back dancing. To me, I feel like it was a money issue again. Kind of like with Matt and Greta, but in a different way. I believe her nephew comes and visits her because she's going to be leaving the country soon, and it's kind of like saying bye to his auntie. But the question is, will this happen again? Will they do this back and forth breakup? And she's telling her dancer friends about it, and they're kind of unsure. They're hoping the best for her, but they kind of feel bad for her because they don't know what it's going to be like. And she's like, I don't know what it's going to be like either. Again, her nephew visits, and he kind of has a similar take on it. He's saying, you're almost 60. What if he does this to you again and leaves you in a lurch? Because she also reveals to him that, for one thing, he has jealousy issues. They fight, they break up, and they make up over and over. But they actually were engaged, and he took the ring back. I think she said that was a year or two within their relationship. And yeah, he's questioning, should you go forward with this? Because she's about to be 60. If this guy leaves her, what will she have? She's over in another country. What will she do? Will she marry this guy? She said they have to. She said, we're going to make it work. We're going to get married. I'm giving them one last chance to make this happen. And as he kind of says, what if this doesn't work? This kind of leaves her in tears, and the nephew comes and comforts her. So, Patia, it's not looking good from the start. I don't know if you should go forward with this situation. This situationship. What is this? And Dylan has a lot to make up for, a lot to prove, I'll say. When I was watching Dylan, they were showing him moonlighting as a dancer, and the women were like touching him. I feel like he has a bit of a narcissistic pleasure he may get out of this. Now, I don't know if I'm using the right word, but I think the fact that he's getting all this attention, touching, and all this stuff, that this is like some type of high he gets by being a male dancer. And maybe just one woman's love may not be enough for Dylan. Now, he gets to have his fantasy by having all these women touch on him, and he could go home to Patia and fulfill his fantasies with her and not with these women that are out there at the strip club and the different parties and events. But you know how some people are. They have to have their cake and eat it too. So I don't know if Dylan's going to be that guy. We need to learn more about Dylan. We hear a lot about Patia's backstory and who she is. Need to know a little bit more about Dylan and if he's really going to hold up his end of this relationship. So I think this was a pretty good episode, introducing a new couple. And for me, honestly, everything is not looking great for any of these couples. And there's just question marks all over and everywhere. But we're done for this particular episode of 90 Day Fiance. The other way, that's our recap chat. Thoughts, comments, questions. Love to hear from you. Check us out on our other platforms at cbiztvmedia.com. And I'll talk to you guys next time. This is Irene. Faith, love, and trends. All the best. God bless.